This teaching is focused upon the nature and character of our Father's Word. Most translations translate His Word as law. So what is law? Teachers and leaders define the laws of Yahuwah the way they define the laws of man, which can be changed, altered, or deleted. Man-made laws includes a system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members and which it may enforce by imposition of penalties. Yahuwah's laws are not like man-made laws. What is Yahuwah's law? The words of our Heavenly Father are identical to the natural laws of the universe because the same entity established them both. A law of nature is an ordered pattern of occurrences in the natural world. These occurrences must be universal, constant, and observable to be true laws of nature. The words of our Father are the natural laws of the universe. They are universal, constant, and observable. We can determine the characteristics of our Father's words spoken and subsequently written by His true prophets by examining the nature and character of the natural laws of the universe. They are the same. They are universal, which means they apply to all inhabitants of the earth regardless of an individual's belief system. His word applies to atheists, Christians, Muslims, Satanists, and Buddhists. His laws are universal. His word is constant, which means that it does not change. It cannot be deleted. An apple falls to the ground 100% of the time when tossed from the roof of a house. This natural law cannot be changed or deleted. The same is true of His word. His word is observable, which means that we can see it fulfilled over and over again. We can see an apple fall to the ground over and over when dropped. We can see this law in action, and it is consistent. This is also true of His word. Here is an example of a natural law of the universe in the word of our Father. And Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind." And it was so. This is found in Bereshit 1:24. This law is universal, constant, and observable. This law cannot be changed, altered, or deleted. Like kind will always produce like kind. This Australian Shepherd dog will always reproduce puppies that look like her and the father. This is true in every country of the world and in every age that ever existed. This law is true in every religious and political belief system. We do not question its outcome. Here is another law that cannot be changed, altered, or deleted. "In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread till you return into the ground. For out of it were you taken, for dust you are, and unto dust you shall return." This is found in Bereshit 3:19. All of us return to the dust of the earth, regardless of our religious or political belief system. This natural law applies to every man, woman, and child that has ever existed. We all live and we all die. Through time, our bodies return to the dust of the earth. It does not matter what an individual believes. This law applies to all of us. This tells us that all of us are subject to His laws. We are all under His power and authority. This law is universal, constant, and observable. Here is another law that cannot be changed, altered, or deleted. "But it shall come to pass, if you will not hear and obey the voice of Yahuwah your mighty one, to observe to do all His commandments and His statutes, which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you." This is found in Devarim 28:15. This is a natural law in the universe, just like the two previous laws just mentioned. This law will come to pass 100% of the time without fail. People are cursed if they do not obey His laws. That's what this law is saying. Here is one of the curses people will experience if they disobey the laws of our Father. "Moreover, He will bring upon you all the diseases of Egypt, which you were afraid of, and they shall cleave to you. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the scroll of this law, Yahuwah will bring them upon you until you be destroyed." This is found in Devarim 28:60-61. People are sick because they disobey Yahuwah's laws. But this next natural law in the universe cancels the law of the curse. It produces different outcomes. "And said, if you will diligently hear and obey the voice of Yahuwah your mighty one, and will do that which is right in His sight, and will listen to His commandments, and guard all His statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon you, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am Yahuwah that heals you. This is found in Shemot 15:26. This law is saying people are healed when they obey Yahuwah's laws. These laws manifest as the law of sowing and reaping, or the concept of karma. Karma says someone who does good, good will come back to them. Karma says someone who does evil, evil will come back to them. We reap what we sow. It is a natural law of the universe. Karma is perceived as a natural law that is automatic. We cannot bargain with it. If we think or do evil, this law will find us. We will experience evil in direct proportion to the evil we committed. The law creates balance. People who disobey our Father's laws will receive curses. The curse will automatically find us 100% of the time. People who obey our Father's laws will receive blessings. The blessing will automatically find us 100% of the time without fail. Messiah Yahushua operated within the bounds of these natural laws. He could not heal people who continued to disobey the laws of Yahuwah. If he did, he would be violating our Father's natural laws, which is impossible to do. Yahuwah himself cannot violate his own laws. They are fixed laws knit into the fabric of the universe. Based on this evidence, we know that Messiah Yahushua was teaching people to obey the laws of our Father. This is the only way that they could be healed by him. Essentially, we tie our Father's hands when we continue to disobey his laws. These natural laws of the universe are absolute. If we drop an apple from the roof of our house, it will fall to the ground over and over 100% of the time. Dogs will produce puppies that look like the mama and papa dog. Like kind produces like kind 100% of the time. When people die, their bodies return to the dust of the earth 100% of the time. If people disobey the laws of Yahuwah written by the prophet Moshe, they will experience the curses listed in Devarim 28:15-68 100% of the time. If people obey all of the laws of Yahuwah written by the prophet Moshe, they will be healed of all their diseases 100% of the time. These laws are universal, constant, and observable. If we add to and subtract from the natural laws of Yahuwah, they are no longer his laws. Can these statements be true? If I were to tell you apples tossed from the roof of a house will float 10% of the time, would you believe me? If I were to say dogs will reproduce kittens 10% of the time, would you believe me? If I were to say dead bodies will break down into cocoa powder 10% of the time, would you believe me? If we change the words of his laws, does this actually change the natural laws of the universe? No, it does not. Yahuwah tells us not to do this. He says, "You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may guard the commandments of Yahuwah your mighty one, which I command you." This is found in Devarim 4:2. When people add to or subtract from his word, the law has been changed and it is no longer his natural law. Some leaders claim that people are no longer obligated to obey the laws of Yahuwah. This is true. We are not obligated to obey his laws. He gave us a choice to obey or disobey. However, we cannot choose the rewards or consequences of our choices. These are fixed. People who disobey his laws are cursed. People who obey his laws are healed. When people are not healed by many prayers, it is likely they have failed to align their thoughts, words, and actions with our Father's instructions in his word. The law of Yahuwah says that people who obey all of his laws will be healed. It is a natural law of the universe that cannot be changed, altered, or deleted. It will come to pass 100% of the time without fail. The outcome for disobedience is also a settled matter. The words of Yahuwah cannot be changed or deleted, even by him. Yahuwah is bound to the words of his own laws. Our Messiah is bound to the words of our Father. He cannot heal people who continue to disobey his instructions. Likewise, he cannot bring a plague or disease upon someone if they are in complete alignment with his word. Our Father confirms this in Yeshayahu 55:10-11. He says, "For as the rain comes down and snow from heaven and returns not there, but waters the earth and makes it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. This is the law of sowing and reaping. This means that the word of Yahuwah has been sent forth in the earth and will be fulfilled completely without fail. Those who disobey his laws will be cursed. Those who obey his laws will be blessed. He is not required to hear an individual's case. The law is already set in motion and will manifest itself in the life of an individual. The curse will find those who disobey, and the blessings will find those who obey. Let's consider an example. The following words were spoken by Yahuwah through the prophet Moshe in Shemot 20:8-11. This is also known as Exodus. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it set apart. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Shabbat of Yahuwah your mighty one. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Shabbat day and set it apart. Constantine was a very powerful man. On the 7th day of March in the year 321 CE, Constantine gave forth his Sunday law. He says, "Let all the judges and town people in occupation of all trades rest on the venerable day of the sun, Dies Solis. But let those who are situated in the country freely and at full liberty attend to the business of agriculture, because it often happens that no other day is so fit for sowing corn and planting vines, lest the critical moment being let slip, men should lose the commodities granted by heaven." This was a binding law on the Roman Empire when he was emperor. Constantine is a man. He died in 337 CE. He is nothing but dust and ashes. His kingdom has fallen, and his laws are no longer binding upon mankind. Yahuwah Elohim is our Father and Creator. He still lives. He actually lives forever. His kingdom still stands, and no one has the power to subdue or overthrow him. This means that his words, his laws, are still active and binding. Like kind still produces like kind. Dead bodies still return to the dust of the earth, and apples still fall to the ground. There are consequences for failing to observe Shabbat on the seventh day in the kingdom of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak also unto the children of Yasharel, saying, Verily, my Shabbats you shall guard, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahuwah that does set you apart. You shall guard the Shabbat, therefore, for it is set apart unto you. Every one that defiles it shall surely die." The passage continues, "For whosoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, set apart to Yahuwah. Whoever does any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely die." This is in Shemot 31:15-18. Yahuwah's laws are still active and binding upon all inhabitants of the earth, even before the beginning of creation. This law in Shemot 31:12-15 goes forth and will manifest itself in the lives of people. Those who work on his Shabbat on the seventh day will be cut off from their people and die. This is a natural law of the universe. It will automatically come to pass. Constantine's laws are no longer binding. There are no consequences for breaking his laws. So why obey him? Another thing that people do not realize is that the death mentioned in this passage is the second death. The first death we all experience is not a choice. It is not avoidable. In Shemot 31:12-15, people can avoid this death by resting on the seventh day. People can avoid being cut off from their people. Yahuwah is saying that people will not die if they rest on his Shabbats. Everyone dies the first death, but Shabbat keepers will not die the second death. When leaders add to and subtract from his word, they have corrupted his message. It is no longer his word. When teachers and leaders tell their followers that our Father changed his Shabbat to the first day of the week, they have added to and subtracted from his original intended message. They have attributed words to our Father that he did not say or establish. They lead people to believe that their words are his words. However, we cannot add to or subtract from His word. This is why it is important to know these differences. Yahuwah tells us that prophets speak His words. They do not speak their own words. Yahuwah makes this distinction in the following passage. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren like unto you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. This is found in Devarim 18:18. The word of Yahuwah is spoken and subsequently written by his true prophets. This means writings that were not written by prophets are not his words. We can determine if a writing is from him by determining if the author fulfills the qualifications as a true prophet from him, by examining the contents of their writings. Are the words in this writing in alignment with our Father or not? Yahuwah also says that his word stands forever through the prophet Yeshayahu. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our Mighty One shall stand forever. This is found in Yeshayahu 48. Words spoken through his prophets stand forever because they are the words of Yahuwah. His word also says that he lives forever. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. This is found in Devarim 32:40. Yahuwah is a king who lives forever. This means that his kingdom never falls or fades away. No one has the ability to conquer his kingdom. Therefore, his laws also stand forever. His word also says that he reveals his mysteries to his prophets. Surely Adonai Yahuwah will do nothing, but he reveals his secret unto his servants the prophets. This is in Amos 3:7. Prophets speak the words of Yahuwah and reveal his messages to the people. Here is a chart that makes a distinction between Yahuwah's laws and mankind's laws. Yahuwah's laws are natural laws of the universe. Mankind's laws are really actually statutes and ordinances because they can be changed or deleted. Yahuwah's laws are binding forever because he lives forever and his kingdom is eternal. Whereas mankind's laws are temporarily binding because men die and kingdoms fall. Yahuwah's laws cannot be changed, altered, or deleted, but mankind's laws can be changed, altered, or deleted. This chart illustrates the significant differences between Yahuwah's laws and mankind's laws, which makes it imperative that we understand the differences between his word and the words of men. The word of Yahuwah, according to the perspective of Messiah Yahusha, includes the following. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spoke to you while I was with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moshe, prophets, and Tehillim, concerning me. Then he opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures. This testimony is found in Luke 24:44 through 45. Testimony tells us that Messiah Yahusha was resurrected from the dead. Yahuwah accomplished this by using his own laws. This is discussed in our study titled The Message of Salvation in the Torah. If Yahusha was resurrected by Yahuwah and ascended into his presence, then we can achieve the same results by doing what he did and saying what he said. His perspective of our Father's word can be our perspective. The word of Yahuwah is the law of Moshe, prophets, and Tehillim. Based on this evidence, we can conclude that the word of Yahuwah for sure includes the words spoken and subsequently written by his true prophets. According to the perspective of Messiah Yahusha, this includes the law of Moshe, the prophets, and the Tehillim, which is also known as the Psalms. We can use these writings to evaluate the writings of others to determine if they are true representatives of Yahuwah Elohim or not. None of the words in the law of Moshe, prophets, or Tehillim can be eliminated. They cannot be changed, altered, or deleted, even by Yahuwah himself. This is the main ground rule necessary for proper interpretation of our Father's word. This truth is violated often. We arrive at different conclusions than what has been taught when this ground rule is applied to our interpretations. We apply this ground rule in all of our teachings. It is an attribute of our Father's word. If we want to restore his original intended messages in his word, then it is necessary to use this ground rule in all of our studies. We want to know and abide by his perspective and not the perspectives of men and women. Their words do not carry any weight or relevance in regard to our eternal outcomes. If every teacher and leader applied this ground rule to their studies, we would all reach similar conclusions and achieve unity. It is man-made doctrines that divide us because they add to and subtract from the words of our Father. The Sunday Sabbath established by Constantine is an example. People who observe the Sabbath on Sunday are separated from Yahuwah and his people who observe it on the seventh day. Our desire is to achieve unity by not adding to or subtracting from his word. We have multiple teachings on our website that validate and verify everything that we presented in this presentation. We encourage everyone to come and visit us at ourfathersway.com and review the evidence for themselves.